Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to look at what might be the single most important engine of the 21st century. We're going under the hood of AI and the large language models that are, let's be honest, changing just about everything.
We all use AI, right? From drafting a quick email to searching for pretty much anything, it's a part of our daily lives. But what's really going on behind the scenes? For most of us, it's a complete black box.
So today, we're going to do it. We're going to pop the hood. And to get our heads around this, we'll use a simple but really useful metaphor. Think of a large language model, or an LLM, as the super high-performance engine that's powering our digital world.
Okay, so before we start taking apart the engine, we need to understand what kind of machine we're even dealing with. As it turns out, AI can be built to do two fundamentally different things.
Think of it like this. You've got discriminative AI, which is kind of like a bouncer at a club. His job is just to make a simple call based on what he sees. Yes or no, in or out. Is this email spam or is it not? It just classifies things. But then you've got generative AI. Now this is the bartender. You tell the bartender what you want and they mix up something totally new just for you. Like, hey, draft an email to my team. LLMs are this second type. They're the creative bartender.
So, our AI is a bartender, ready to create something for us. But how do we actually place our order? Well, our words have to be converted into a kind of fuel that this engine can actually burn. And that process is where it starts to get really interesting.
It all starts with something called a token. Now, a token isn't exactly a word. It's the most basic, kind of atomic unit that the model can understand. You can think of them as the individual molecules that make up the AI's fuel.
And this is a really important idea to get your head around. The model doesn't see language the way you and I do. It sees a stream of these little subword pieces. Let's take a look at what that actually means.
So if we feed the model this sentence, LLMs process subword tokens. It doesn't see 6 words, no way. It breaks it down into these smaller chunks. You see how subword is actually split into sub and word? And even the period at the end, that gets its own token. Every little piece counts.
So how does that all add up? Well, a pretty good rule of thumb, at least for English, is that 75 words will break down into about 100 tokens. It's not a perfect science, but it's a really handy mental shortcut to have. So why do we care so much about tokens? Simple. Because every single one of them costs you something. The more tokens you have, both in your prompt and in the AI's answer, the more fuel you're burning. This is what directly translates to your bill for using the engine.
Okay, so the engine has its fuel, the tokens. But how does it actually use them to, think? How does it figure out what we mean and what it should say back? Well, that happens in 2 really key steps.
First, every token gets converted into an embedding. The easiest way to think about this is to imagine a giant map of meaning. Every token gets its own set of coordinates on this map. And tokens with similar meanings, like car and automobile, they get placed really close together. That's how the model starts to understand context.
And then comes the magic. Seriously, this is the secret sauce of modern AI, the attention mechanism. As the model writes its response, 1 token at a time, attention lets it look back at your entire prompt and decide which words are the most important for figuring out the very next word it should generate. It's constantly asking itself, okay, what part of their message should I be paying attention to right now?
So now that we know how the engine works, let's turn to the driver's dashboard. These are the practical dials and gauges that you, the user, need to keep an eye on: speed, cost, and capacity.
The first gauge is the context window. This is basically your engine's memory. Or maybe a better way to think of it is like your car's trunk space. It's the absolute max number of tokens the model can think about at one time. That includes your prompt and its response. A bigger window is great for analyzing huge documents, but it almost always means higher costs and slower speeds.
So what do you do when your text doesn't fit in the trunk? You have to get clever. You can't just copy-paste a 200-page report and cross your fingers. You have to act like an editor. Summarize the long parts, chop out all the junk, like email signatures, or just feed it the most recent, most important parts of a conversation. And that leads us right to the fuel efficiency gauge. Cost is calculated per token,
that's clear enough. But here's something really important to notice. Providers often charge you different prices for input tokens versus output tokens. See here? The tokens you put in are cheaper than the ones the model gives back. Managing both is absolutely key to controlling your costs.
And finally, we've got the speedometer. We're talking about latency, how fast you get a response. And this is a classic trade-off, isn't it? Do you want the fast, zippy sports car or the powerful, high-quality luxury sedan? Smaller models are often way faster, but the quality might take a hit. Larger models are incredibly smart, but they can be a lot slower. You have to pick the right tool for the job.
All right, this is the last dial on our dashboard, and it's a big one. It's all about how you actually access this engine. Are you going to rent a car whenever you need one, or are you going to buy your own car and deal with all the maintenance yourself?
Using an API model is just like calling a taxi. It's super fast to get going, you don't have to worry about the mechanics, and it's always available. The catch? Well, you're sending your data to someone else, and you're paying whatever fare they set. Running an open weights model, though, that's like owning your own car. You have total control, your data stays completely private, and you can tune it up however you want. But you're responsible for everything. The garage, the gas, the oil changes, the whole shebang. So there you have it. From tokens to context windows, from cost to control. Understanding the mechanics of this AI engine isn't just about satisfying some technical curiosity. It's about giving you the keys. It empowers you to use these incredible new tools more effectively, more efficiently, and with purpose. You're in the driver's seat now. The only question left is, where will you drive it?